Hello everyone and welcome to my Wave Race 64 Community Leaderboard history video. So to start off with, I'm going to talk about official leaderboards. Twin Galaxies was the very first leaderboard for Wave Race 64 as far as I can tell. It has across its games it has a very high standard for proof requirements, video times. It was essentially trying to be the authority on video game world records, and in a lot of games it was. For Wave Race 64, some of the members like Kevin Booth, Jason Walls, they could afford to do this. They could send in videos that they recorded on VCR, and then you'd be able to validate their times. But it made it a little bit more difficult when a lot of other people started recording times, and you want to keep records of all of this. And here comes Geocities. So Geocities was a site early 2000s, I think 1997 likely. The first version of this leaderboard was set up. And this is a version from November 26, 2002, 2K2 here. So we've got a couple rules here. Always use default settings. That refers to the wave settings. Lowering the wave settings would make it a lot easier to complete some of the courses in less time. But most of these scores were just either transferred from FiberScore or were reported on like Mario Kart 64 forums. Mario Kart 64 is very important to mention right now because Kevin Booth and Jason Walls, these are two players I want to go over right away. So Kevin Booth is the founder, original webmaster, and sketchy uncle of the Mario Kart 64 players page and Diddy Kong Racing page. This guy was likely the person that curated these original leaderboards for Wave Race 64, and was rated number 2 in Wave Race 64. As far as I can tell, up to about 2008. So for about a decade, he was like the second best player, provably in 64, in Wave Race 64. But Mario Kart, him and a couple friends, they started this Mario Kart 64 site, and they had their own rankings going. They had their own kind of community where they were beating each other's times. And among this community, in terms of Wave Race anyway, and even in Mario Kart 64, one of the deadliest players, if not the deadliest player, Jason Walls. Jason Walls he's remembered as one of the pioneers of Mario Kart 64, finding many skips, many shortcuts. He was an all-rounder player. He submitted times to every category, and usually in Wave Race 64, they were actually the number 1 time. He ended up holding his records for close to 10 years as well in Wave Race 64. So these guys, they went hard, and here's the rankings from 2002 to show that a little bit. We've got just like a place rankings here, and we've got stunts and total. Even in total, Jason Walsh just destroys. But you see he doesn't have any stunt mode times. I'm focusing on NTSC time trials specifically for this video to keep it focused, but Jason Walls taking most of the first place times, and just an insane player. Finding some of the things that we find we use now still, like the out of bounds on or the off course missing buoys route for Sunset Bay, going underneath he was likely the first player to figure out how, going underneath the gate in Marine Fortress. Very solid times across the board, even today. And still a top 10 player on just about any list you'll find for Wave Race 64. We've got a 2008 list here. We've got Jason Brody here. Just a quick note, DarkCourse is his alias online. He's a Smash 64 community member, streamer, and player. Definitely go check out his YouTube channel. Link will be in the description below. He's got community tournament videos and combo videos, and just a really cool guy. Also an insane Nintendo 64 controller collection. So they've changed the rankings now to where it's in order of appearance: Jason Walsh, Jason Walsh, Jason Walsh, Jason Walsh, Jason Walsh, etc. Jason Walsh just destroying for like a decade in Wave Race 64. And from 2008 to 2011, as far as I can see, FiberScore was the main site that we used to keep track of our time. So best lap, I could be wrong here on this time period, but I think I have this right. Best lap, 3 lap, total time reverse, and stunt mode for both PAL and also for NTSC. So this was a really good leaderboard for a long time. But as we'll see, there's 33 submissions to this. The problem with this site is that it doesn't require really any proof. So you'll see here there's like one with like a picture proof. So he's got a picture of his LCD flat screen. And we've got a couple of YouTube from like some of our prominent community members that are modern here, but many of these records are kind of sketchy at best. Like maybe not most of these ones in the top 10, but for 33 you can still get like a reasonable ranking just by submitting times across the board that were garbage. And it's not really that accurate. So in 2011, we've got this guy Ice Smith. Ice Smith is one of the most, or a very important, especially community member in N64 games. He's still active today, but he's very active in the Elite, GoldenEye, and Perfect Dark community, and this is really where the Perfect Dark and GoldenEye community start to come into Wave Race. We've got Elu here. Elu is still like a top 3 player, depending on where you rank him. He's second or third best. At this time, he's got records for just about all of the courses, and he's improving his times, getting world record times. So his last post on here is 2012 on this specific thread. But what Smith created here, because nobody needed, like more people need to start playing this game. This is what he's saying. Elu and Stefan basically have no competition at the moment, and that needs to change. Awesome game. So he's created a spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet here. This was used up until 2014. This is shoutouts to Ice Smith. This guy did a lot in a lot of N64 communities, but for Wave Race specifically in NTSC time trials, he kept this going for like 3 years on his own, just manually like adjusting these times and adding them. And the struggle would be at that time to get just top 10 times. Get like it all filled all the way across the board, because there still aren't that many players at this point in period in time. 2014, so it was discontinued on 12/10/2014, and a new leaderboard was used for Wave Race 64, and that's how they left it for a while until. So right after, in 2014, early 2013, we've got Shibby Pod going for record. Shibby Pod, another Elite member, but very attached to Wave Race 64, and by the time he makes this post, he has pretty much annihilated all the records other than Drake Lake from that Ilu had, I think. And he's drawing people's attention to speedrun.com. Speedrun.com is the current leaderboards that we use for our website. It's actually insane how many world records he was getting in this time, but I digress. So Shibby Pod wants people to go on to speedrun.com, Wave Race 64. And this is the leaderboard that we use currently. Unlike FiberScore, top 5 now required video evidence. Some of them were grandfathered in from before that, but we've got lots of videos to help you learn. I highly recommend my video tutorial series for anyone starting off Wave Race, but basically in 2016, February 2016, this is the first time that we have a rankings again, a true rankings as to who is the best player. And even Ice Smith didn't really have like an overall top 10, top 5 world record player rankings. Oh wait, yeah, he did. My bad. So we've got rankings here. I'm not sure when the last time, I imagine this was updated last time in 2014. So we've got some Ryan Honkerton, Jason Walls, Ice Smith. So we've got Alu underneath. So we've got our point system here. And this is similar to, so this is a pretty good ranking system here. This is somewhat close to a more elite record ranking system. Wow, this is really good. I can't believe I didn't notice this in the document before. Well, I'm glad I did. So we've got player rankings. That was until 2014, and that was kind of the official player rankings. But in 2016, February 2016, ShibbyPod releases his first rankings list. And we've got, again, Shibby, Ilu, Ryan Lockwood, Admiral Smith. In the top 6, we have 3 of them are eliters. So we still have a huge amount of influence from the elite.net. And also Jason Walls. We still see Jason Walls even today. This is the most recent one, January 2017. Jason Walls still in the top 10. So these rankings are just his opinion. He's basing them on statistics, but he also knows that he's been, because of basically the lack of activity in Wave Race 64 across the courses. There's many players who have only a few submissions on courses, and most of them are in the first 3 courses. And he's just trying to, he was with this list, he's just trying to show who the best players in the game are. And what I've created now is I've fully created something actually not too dissimilar to this, to be honest. It's not too dissimilar to this ranking, a little bit more statistical, but it also holds value on the historical world records and how long people had held them. So I'm going to be going over that leaderboard in a separate video, which once I have it up, I will put it in the description box below. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you will try out Wave Race 64. It's quite an amazing game with a very, obviously, as you can see, a very long history that I hope to shine a bit more light on in some future videos. After all that, I want to tell you all to take care.